German startup scene for over 70 years, and I have founded 8 companies, and I've been teaching entrepreneurship in my workshops and programs for students as well as founders and established companies around the world for more than 11 years. I'm very happy to welcome you to this webinar to give you an overview about the business plan stage 2 in the business plan competition, with a focus today on the topics market analysis and marketing, and how you can participate in the business plan competition Berlin-Brandenburg, which is, by the way, the biggest business plan competition in Germany. The business plan is a proven step-by-step method you apply to create a business plan according to the 3 business plan competition stages of submission. With the professional help of the BPW jurors, you then receive personal feedback on your business plan and develop it further at each stage. So, in our webinar today, we are going to outline the different sections of the business plan with a focus on marketing and market analysis. We also touch upon key aspects of sustainability. In addition, we provide you with a submission checklist and plenty of useful tips, of course. So, just we did it in our previous webinars. Maybe you have seen the first webinars 2 Path 1 Goal, and the subsequent webinar went more in the detail of the business plan competition stage 1 and the topics product and service and the team of founders, etc. Before watching this webinar, we encourage you to watch the first 2 webinars. In each of them, we show you how you can participate in the different stages of the business plan competition. And please also use our resources on like the handbook or the calendar, in which you can find more helpful tips, events, and workshops. As you know from the other webinars, the competition has 3 stages or cycles. In every one of the 3 stages of the competition, we honor the best business plans and canvases with a total of over 50,000 euros in prize money. In stage 2, you can win 4,000 euros for the first, second, and third place of the competition. You can either enter the competition with a business plan or a business model canvas, and in both categories, of course, at the same time, and also with the same project. So, and as you can see of the bottom of the slide, we also have a special award for sustainability during the 3rd stage of the competition with a prize money of 5,000 euros. So, you can participate at any time during any stage or cycle, and it's up to you if you would like to create a canvas or a business plan. Maybe you have participated in the first stage already, and maybe you have even won a prize. So congrats to you. Now go on, you're on a good way. And if not, it doesn't matter, better luck next time, right? So, and let's focus on the 2nd stage now. At the end of this competition phase, 2 jurors will evaluate your concept, and if you have participated in the first stage, you've already received feedback from 2 jurors. Now you can use this input to rethink and rewrite your business plan for the submission in stage 2. The jurors' comments and feedback are important resources for you, which you can use to improve your business plan in stage 2. It's important to understand that writing business plans is not a one-time thing. The essence of the business plan is to rethink and rewrite the chapters over and over again. And by doing so, your business plan becomes more solid, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, in this webinar, our focus is on the 2nd stage, especially on marketing and market analysis. And however, before we get to the specific chapters and content, we will share some helpful information on the structure of a BPW business plan, the requirements we're looking for, It's general purpose and repeat parts of stage 1 of the submission, and also the chapters product, service, and founder team. So if you decide to submit a business plan in stage 2, you have to deliver the topics summary, product or service, founders, market analysis, and marketing. That's overall 10 to 25 pages, and don't forget, please don't deliver more than the required chapters or topics, okay? Second stage. In the second stage, you can win 4,000 euros in prize money for the first, second, and third place. And please check or make sure to check our website for the official submission dates. So before we dive into the chapters and requirements, you can see here we have a German grading system from 1+ outstanding to 6, which means not so good or very poor. And as I said earlier, in every stage of the competition, based on this evaluation scale, you will receive feedback from 2 different jurors. And the jurors are different, and they have different view on your concept and different opinions. Because of that, their rating and their feedback can differ. We have an eye on that and double check the ratings in case the ratings differ too much. So, but if you think at one point your rating or feedback from the jurors wasn't fair, please don't hesitate to contact us. In this case, we will triple check the feedback and ratings, and our system usually works very well, and the participants accept the given feedback. And you will get the chance to speak to your jurors in person or via phone, email, to discuss their statements on your concept in more detail. From my perspective, this is a great advantage of the business plan competition. You can get one-to-one feedback from your jurors, and at the end of the competition, when you have participated in all stages, you may have talked to 6 jurors in person. Okay. So sustainability. Let's start with this important topic. Maybe you have already written down the first thoughts on this topic in stage 1 of the submission. Now you have the opportunity to dive deeper into the holistic sustainability approach for your company, right? As you may know from watching the previous webinars, sustainability can influence nearly all areas of business and therefore plays an important role in startup success. Use the second stage of the competition to develop a unique philosophy of a sustainable company further. Rethink and rewrite what you have so far on paper, include the feedback from the jurors, maybe it was inspiring, and add new topics like the highlighted ones you can see on this slide, right? For instance, product quality, consumer protection, and sustainable resource consumption or renewable energies. You have plenty of options and opportunities to find sustainable solutions that fits with your business. And it's fun and also good for your karma, right? So in order to effectively integrate aspects of sustainability in your business plan, you should familiarize yourself with the opportunities for sustainable action and management. And don't forget to attend our seminars and workshops on these topics. This will help you to shape your concept in order to integrate sustainability in every chapter of your business plan. So, as you know from the previous webinars, you should develop a sustainable management action plan based on the areas of activity affecting your business. And furthermore, you should present the impact of sustainability on your marketing strategy, right? So, as you can see on this slide, the second stage of the competition, we focus on all of the business development objectives. And don't forget the special prize offered in the competition in the third stage. So let's take a closer look at the business plan structure now. As you can see here, you have to deliver more chapters in the second stage, which will make your plan more comprehensive. Remember that your business plan should be structured clearly and present key information about the business in detail. In the very last stage of submission, stage 3, you will eventually also include a proper 3-year financial plan in terms of strategy and numbers. And again, to tell you more about the purpose and the function of these tools, here's some quick facts about the business plan in general. For those who have watched the webinar on stage 1 of the business plan, already this may be a bit of repetition, but I will go brief over this topic. So creating a business plan is not only important when starting a business, but also when expanding, restructuring, or taking over an existing company. The classic business plan is one of the most popular planning tools when starting a business. It was initially used in the US as a tool for use in acquisitions by private investors or venture capitalists. Over a time scale of usually 3 years, it illustrates the strategy for implementing business objectives with all of the major conditions, plans, and measures to be taken. So with your business plan, you should present the key aspects, strategic components, and the vision of your company in a clear, easy to understand, and convincing way. There are, in general, 2 target audiences. External, outside your company, and internal, inside your company, of course. And let's take a look at the external audience first. The goal of a business plan is to win over a specific audience. Most likely these will be potential business partners, for instance, financial institutes or investors. Or in the business plan competition, your juror, of course. So all of them are very interested in market potential and how your business will increase in value. So second, we are going to take a look at the internal audience. Internally, the business plan is used to establish direction and focus on long-term business objectives. And you should remember that you are also writing a business plan for yourself as a planning and monitoring tool, right? So here are some key aspects that make up a good business plan. With your business plan, you should present the key aspects, strategic components, and your vision of your company in a clear and easy to understand and convincing way. Your business plan should enable a full assessment of opportunities and risk associated with your business activity. You will probably write various drafts of it, and it may change along the way too. New knowledge may result in you having to revise individual aspects of your business plan. It's a process of constant updating. Yeah, all assumptions, projections, and results you develop and revise must be made consistently in order to avoid content errors. So, and also focus on what's important rather than including too many details. All topics should be written concisely, but also include enough details. It's all about finding a balance, right? So, in this competition, of course, you can decide which language you want to use when writing a business plan, German or English. And a business plan is in some way like an job application, I would say. Jurors will highly appreciate if you carefully choose your wording. That means no slang or jargon, or that only people in your field of expertise can understand. So when you write your business plan, pretend you would write it so that a 10-year-old child can understand it. That should keep you on the safe side. On this slide, now you can see the requirements for the business plan chapter by chapter. The red numbers show you how many pages are recommended for each chapter. And please try to stick to the given topics, requirements, and numbers of pages. You could and should add important documents to the business plan as attachment. For example, your CVs, blueprints, letter of intents, or market research results, of course. So, but don't try to squeeze too much information into the given structure. If it doesn't fit with the topic or stage, please don't do it. So let's finally get started with the chapters of the second stage. The second stage or competition phase looks usually like this. The celebration ceremony of the first stage has already taken place, and the seminar and workshop program in Berlin-Brandenburg is running. So please take advantage of these events to deepen your knowledge about the business plan. The great thing about the seminars and workshops is that they are for free. They are free of charge. So, and during the network events, you can expand your network and discuss topics that are important to you with experts and fellow founders. In March, the second competition phase ends with the second submission deadline. You have the possibility to submit your application online before midnight. Two jurors then evaluate your submission by giving grades and helpful tips. So finally, the BPW committee creates a ranking of the top teams in each category, and these top teams are then invited to pitch in front of the committee, and the best 6 teams out of them receive the opportunity to enter into the final pitch round at the second award ceremony in April. So, yeah, let's take a more detailed look at the chapters you have to deliver. Summary, but now in an extended version, because you have to add the key aspects of the chapters, market research and marketing, right? So you have to deliver product, service, founders, market research and marketing, and please remember, there should not be more than 10 to 25 pages, and please don't forget, you should only deliver the required chapters. Here are 2 important things to keep in mind. Don't forget to include your approach on how you're planning to develop a sustainable company. And second, please write the summary page at the very end. Since it's a summary, it summarizes everything you have talked about in the entire business plan in the second stage of the competition. The summary should only cover the chapters I mentioned just now, and they are again product, service, founders, and market research and marketing. Alrighty, so let's go briefly over the first chapters before we go to marketing and market research. I know I said you should start writing the summary page first, but I will explain it to you before taking a look at other chapters. The summary is a key part of a business plan. It creates a first impression. It should therefore spark the interest of the readers. Usually this is your potential investor, banker, or business partner. In the competition, of course, it's a juror or 2 of them. The summary contains a brief outline of all key aspects of the business plan, just like an executive summary. Here are some questions you have to answer on the summary page. What sort of company is it? Which legal form did you choose? Also, where do you want to position your company in the market, right? And what is the market? So, give a concise overview of the structure of your company. What is your product or service and what's special about it? Here you have to describe your unique selling proposition of your product and service, but only in a few sentences, because the more detailed explanation follows in the chapter product and service. Who are the managers? Mention the founders, managers, and important people who are the drivers of the startup. Give us a first impression about their skills, about the skills your team already has. Okay. How much money do you need? During what stages? What will it be used for, etc. Your answer to these questions should give a concise overview of where your project is at. You should also include the next important milestones like R&D, building a prototype, testing the market, and things like that. Okay, so Here, let's continue with the chapter product and service briefly. Overall, you should not write more than 3 to 7 pages here. Also make sure that you cover the following topics: product description, client benefits, target audience, and development status. Your challenge is now to rewrite this chapter and integrate the feedback of the jurors given to you and also results from your market research, right? So if you haven't participated in the first stage of the competition, you can start here from scratch. The core of each business plan is a clear and comprehensive description of the product or service and a clear and detailed presentation of the customer benefit of your product and service. And sometimes it's hard to break things down into their key aspects, especially when you feel passionate about the product or service. People often think and test and develop their goods over weeks, months, and years, and they feel really proud of their results. So that's absolutely fine and an important part of founding a business. But if you want to convince a juror or other readers of your business idea, it's absolutely necessary to explain your product or service in a concise way that is easy to understand. You can help your reader to picture your product or service by using illustrations, photos, or graphics in addition to the descriptions. And also you can integrate your market research results as well, right? So it's very important to demonstrate how your product or service is different from those of your competitors. So you have to find competitors. So if your product or service is not completely ready to enter the market, touch upon the development status and describe the next steps which need to be taken in order to get there. To describe your product or service, you answer the following questions. What is your product or service? Of course, a software, a device or service or something like that. Which competing products or service exist already? Yeah? And think here from a user perspective. So what is your product or service USP that makes it stand out when looking at competing products or services? And for that, of course, you need to understand your market, right? So you have to know your market, the segments, the competitors in order to answer all these questions. Find them and describe them. If you can't find a competitor, you have to do more research. From the perspective of your customer, there is always another solution or alternative, right? So this alternative may not exactly be like your product or service, but in some way, maybe so. So what is sustainable about your product or service and how is it generated? Here you can show us what you can do in order to save natural resources or to help protect the environment. To describe your customer benefit and target audience, you answer the following questions. What is the problem or need that your customers have? This is the most important question to answer. And again, you can find anything when you do a good market research. Which specific benefit does your product or service you offer have from the customer's perspective, right? Which target audience, potential customers, you can appeal to with your product or service? Yes, in theory, we have mass markets and niche markets, but which segment is it you want to focus on? Please don't try to solve all the problems of all customers out there. Target the low-hanging fruits, the customers who are easy to get to and whom you can get feedback from on your product or service. So, please answer the following questions. What is your value proposition? Which means that you should not describe what your product is, but go beyond that. So Porsche, for example, is not selling cars, they are selling status, right? What is the value? What value do you offer to your customer? So Think about it like this. What does your customer truly desire? So that's much more than features or colors or material. Another interesting question, how you're going to be better than your competitor at solving your customers' problems, right? So also think about technology aspect, copyright and protection, and what is unique about your product or service, and can you compete on the level of sustainability? So let's go over the key questions you have to answer when writing about your development status and which stage of development is your product or service, which development steps are you planning, do you have a prototype already, and which development costs do you have to take into account, in which areas do you see development risk and how you can solve these problems, what is the current state of the art, another question for the market research. So what is your competitor's development status? You have to find out this, and please try to find all information about your competitors. Finding competitors in general will become an important part of your business plan during all stages of the competition. The following questions have a stronger focus on the innovation and sustainability. How are you protecting your innovation, for instance, and how do you maintain your innovation advantage over the competitors? So which specific opportunities and risks become important for you when consider aspects of sustainability? So let's take a brief look at the chapter founders, and then we go to the market analysis and marketing. Please make sure that you cover all the following topics here: founders and skills, closing gaps, key figures, and founders income. Overall, not more than 2 to 5 pages. And it's the same like in the previous chapter. Your challenge is now to rewrite and this chapter and integrate feedback of the jurors given to you and also the market research results. So, and if you haven't participated in the first stage of the competition, just start from scratch. Your team is key, of course, and when writing this section about the founders, it helps you to assume, if you assume that you as an individual or team are applying for jobs at your future company, show how each of you has the skills and need in order to run your business and convince the reader accordingly. The success of a business often lives and dies with the personalities and skills of its founders, right? So as an entrepreneur, you have to implement and drive your project. So there may be one or several founders. In this section, you should demonstrate that you are capable of building successful business. You should therefore also mention your management qualities. Key questions on the founders. What distinguishes the individual founders? Education, practical experience, prior knowledge, successes, professional qualifications, business experience, of course, and yeah. Success as a team. Building a business requires all kinds of skills and talents that few people can offer on their own. Working within a team of founders is beneficial as tasks and responsibilities are shared between several people. The successful interplay between various personalities often produce the best solutions, okay? As a team, you should be aware of your strengths and weaknesses and develop strategies to ensure collaborative action. So then when we talk about your team, you also have to talk about your team structure and clearly define rules, and of course, who's in charge of marketing and market research, and do you have complementary skills? Are all key activities required covered by your team members? If this is not the case, create job profiles for the most important areas of your business and present the skills and experiences needed in detail. And compare with the skills and you and the other founders have already. If you find gaps, you should explain how and when you would like to fill these gaps. This could also be with consultants, for instance, or external coaches. We also recommend you to attend further BPW seminars and workshops to learn more about how to run a business and how to assign specific roles. So, and when we talk about these key figures, we mean important people who don't belong to your company who may provide you with support. This could be, for example, experts or people with important client context. In your business plan, you should write about these key people and outline in particular how they can be tied to the business and how dependent you are on them. You should also present a solution for the event that important partner drops out halfway through. Please again talk about the important stuff in your team, money and vision, and how do you as a team want to do this together. So why you want to do this. So here we are, and the section you see on this slide is new in the second stage of the business plan, and you can imagine that good knowledge of the market and competition are crucial to the success of your business, right? So as you are usually not the only player in a given market, your specific client benefits always depends on what your competitors have to offer to. In the market analysis, you have to take a close look at the market, the customers, the competitors for your project or service. Market analysis also helps you to estimate the market potential for your project and to determine where and how you wish to position your business in the market. So please let us and all readers of your business plan know what the market you have chosen looks like, and when performing your market analysis, please make sure to cover the following topics: overall market description, market segmentation and potential, and competitive sphere. If you have done your market research by means of a self-developed questionnaire, please include your data and resources as an attachment to your business plan, so that the reader can see what your statements and conclusions are based on. Okay, so let's take a look at the market research topic by itself. We begin with the overall market description. Choose an overall market for your product and service. So this should be equivalent to an industry, such as software, lasers and medical technology, catering, wellness, trade fairs, etc. Right? If you're having trouble to define your market, ask yourself, this should be the first question, definitely. Ask yourself, what product or services could be used to replace your offer? So a piece from advice from me here, do this from the perspective of your customer. Once you have defined this substitute goods, you're on a good track to define your market and your segment. So describe the size, which means sales or turnovers, and the expected growth. and other trends of the overall market defined. So you should also investigate external factors which may have an impact and change the overall market or industry, right? So these types of changes can be dramatic, such as when Nokia cell phones got replaced completely by smartphones. Yeah, maybe you remember. And or they can be slower, such as CDs or DVDs, which may eventually disappear in the future, right? So describe the relevance of these factors in relation to your business. Besides advancing technology, this also includes political and legal parameters, as well as broader economic and socio-demographic developments, right? Let's continue now with the topic market segmentation and potential. As you can see, we have to differentiate between customer goods and capital goods here. So but read and think carefully about the potential market segmentation criteria you want to use for your market or industry. Criteria could be, for instance, like you can see on this slide, geographical criteria, countries, regions, cities, Berlin-Brandenburg, districts, etc. Demographic criteria may be interesting. So the age or gender of your potential customers, the income, of course, career, educational status, etc. So maybe or sometimes psychographic criteria, attitudes, opinions, media use or lifestyle. So you're free to choose the criteria. Another key aspect of the classic business plan is the potential. Okay, the market potential provides the entire potential sales volume of a market for a specific product or service. Here you determine the market potential for your product or service based on your planned target audiences. For example, if you own the company Porsche and you looked at the following three models you produce, the Porsche 911, the Cayenne, and the Boxster, you have three different market segments, or rather customer segments, right? Who buy these three different cars. So men 45 plus buy the 911, moms with children buy the Cayenne, and their teenage sons or daughters the Boxster, right? So from the entire Porsche market, you can go into a more detail for these three specific parts of the market. Do the same for your own company. Dividing the market into segments also allows you to adjust the product or service you offer these customers in a more focused and efficient way, right? So you're free to choose the segmentation criteria. However, you should make sure that the number of customers and their purchasing behavior can be calculated in each segment, and the customers in each segment can reach with the same sales strategy. So, and here's the third topic of your market research, your competitors. And here you have to investigate the key competitors who currently offer products or service in market segments that are relevant to you, right? So you also have to keep in mind other competitors who could offer similar products or services to you in the future. Create strength and weaknesses profiles of your key competitors, and your own company. This can be a simple table in which you create different columns that each contains a name of a competitor, and finally a column for your own company, right? So next you fill the row with the criteria you wish to use in order to compare your competitors with your own company. So if you use this table in your business plan, you can give the reader a clear and rapid overview of strengths and weaknesses and of your product or service. Compare to the competition. When analyzing and describing your table in the business plan, make sure to outline measures to tackle any weaknesses your business may have. Okay. In addition, you should consider how sustainable the competitive advantage you have described will be. When examining the competition, consider indirect competitors too. Okay. Furthermore, it's important to consider the barriers that may exist in your target market that make it hard for new providers to enter the market. Very important thing. This may, for example, include high investment costs, for instance, existing patent protection, an advantage in terms of expertise, etc. So, explain how you would like to overcome these barriers as a new player in the market, right? So you should also take into account potential reactions from competitors to your market in your plan. To sum up, proper market analysis is a base for solid market strategy. Please handle this chapter with care and take your time for the research involved. You should specifically touch up on sales, turnover, pricing, growth, market share, location, and also sales channels and services, and image as well as your competition. Yeah, very important. When it comes to marketing, you have two options in general. You can put the customer at the center of your business model or your product. In the first case, you are acting according to the classic marketing principles. However, marketing is much more than advertising. Marketing is the focus on the entire business, on the customer. The marketing plan is therefore a core aspect of your business plan. The following elements are a part of a complete marketing concept or marketing mix. Marketing mix is product, price, communication, sales. These must be consistent with each other. It's very important. Yeah. So when you think about your product, you have to answer the following two questions. One, would you like to offer one single product or service or several product or service to satisfy your customer needs? So, and secondly, will you offer different forms of your products or services for different target groups, like Porsche with the 911 and the Cayenne, right? So, before we take a look at the marketing mix in more detail, let me remind you how everything you write is connected. Your writing is connected. The red line you can see on this slide shows you that by building one chapter of top of another, you can not only create a great business plan, but also a proper or solid business, right? So use the questions we provide you with and build your business plan step by step. A good market analysis including a good customer needs analysis is essential here and serves as a key building block to show how huge the potential of what you offer is, right? Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, here we are. Now marketing mix. Component number 1, product policy. You have already provided a basic description of what you offer in the product or service section of your business plan. In this section, you now have to give into more detail and tell us whether you would like to offer one single product or service or several different ones, right? You should also mention whether you will offer different forms of your products or service, product varieties for different target audiences. Keep in mind the Porsche, the 3 Porsche cars, right? So, you also establish whether you're planning product modifications or innovations. Important questions are here. Does your range of products or services cover the customer needs? Which features does your product require to cover the customer relevant needs? Which versions of your product or service are designed for which customer group? And does your product policy take into account aspects of sustainability, of course? And the marketing mix component number 2 is the pricing policy. Pricing, very important. So pricing is primarily based on your strategy in terms of how you want to position your company in the market in comparison to your competitors. So you must know your market, right? So it all comes together. Yeah, it's also covered the issue of customer willingness to pay in your market segment. This should be definitely a question in your questionnaire when you ask your potential customers what they want and how do they think about your product and service, right? So the price you can receive for your product or service therefore depends entirely on how much the benefit of what you offer is worth the customer, right? So we talked about this already in the previous chapters and webinars. So you can theoretically choose various pricing strategies, and this choice depends primarily on your strategy. And there is not an absolute right or wrong strategy, but keep in mind every strategy has advantages and disadvantages, okay? At this point, you should use your market research results to understand how your market and competitors are dealing with this topic, okay? Very important. And your pricing must be consistent with all of your other activities and primarily your positioning in the market, right? When you want to be a premium provider, then you have to have premium prices. So when setting prices, remember to your own production costs in mind, very important. And also keep in mind, in general, being cheap is not the one and only strategy. Yeah, very important. Please take care. Handle this with care. So communication. The communication policy as the third element of the marketing mix. Customer can only purchase your product or service if they know that it exists, right, and if they are familiar with it. So Henry Ford said, for every dollar I spend for the research and development for my cars, I spend a second dollar to advertise them. In your communication policy, you should therefore describe your plan on how you can reach your customer. Your plan could, for instance, include traditional, or should, depending on your strategy, traditional advertising in the usual media, like press, radio, TV, cinema, and online. And I'm on the wrong slide. And also direct marketing, direct mailings to selected clients, telephone marketing, online, etc. Customer visits, social media, new media, so and so on. So public relations, articles and reports written about you, your business and your products is an efficient and cost-effective way to raise awareness among your customers, right? So communications can be expensive. You should precisely calculate what you spend on which communication channel. Make sure that you also tailor your communication activities to your target audience and their habits, right? So different media also have different target audiences, which you should research in advance. So when addressing customers, you should focus on people who eventually make the decision to buy or have the biggest influence on the decision makers. So this is now sales policy. Okay. Last but not least, the fourth element of the marketing mix, the sales policy. Here you have to determine which sales channels you wish to use to sell your product or service. This means how your product or service gets to your customer. The choice between direct and indirect sales channels depends on the type of product or service you have, the type of customer you're targeting, and the selecting pricing strategy. You must decide whether you will sell your product or service yourself or by using business partners, right? So for instance, you can have your own points of sales, so stores, or sales force like Tupperware in the 80s. External representatives act as agents selling products from various manufacturers, or third-party retailers to sell your products to end customers, right? So, or wholesalers, for instance. This approach allows you to use existing sales channels, which is in some cases very good. However, this does involve corresponding margins for retail, right? So selling online can also be an option, and it allows you to reach a large number of customers at very little cost, right? So let me make sure that we have the right slide here. Okay, perfect. I'm sorry. That's it. That's it for stage 2 at the business plan competition. Once you have do your research and answered all the questions we have mentioned, you can submit your business plan and wait for the next feedback from the jurors. And here we have some questions. First question, how can I find out who my potential customers are? And how can I know their interests? Here are any tools for that. Yes, first of all, use your brain. Yeah. So as I mentioned, put yourself in the shoes of your customer, and ask yourself, your product or service. There are competing services out there. So when you, for instance, want to produce bottles, not only other manufacturing companies for bottles are your competitors. Maybe we have other tools to drink, right? So you should start, when you have an idea, you should start to think about your customer first. So who are they? Are they male, female? Where do they live? So this is a kind of process, and I tried to mention this in the research. We have a couple of tools, and you can also look at the Porter's 5 Forces, for instance. This is a helpful tool to find a little bit more out about the market and who are maybe my potential customers. So I hope this answered the question. So and another question is, how much budget do I have to spend for marketing? And do I have any recommendations? Yes, I have. You have different approaches. From my perspective, the first 1, 2, 3 years of your business is not to make as much money as possible. It's more to establish your brand in the market, right? So therefore, you have to spend money. And I mentioned the example from Henry Ford. For every dollar he put into the research and development, he put another dollar in the advertisement or in the marketing. And from my perspective, it makes sense to spend money or your resources, time, to go to do everything you can to become prominent in your segment, in your market. So there is a method you can use. It's a percentage method, and I will explain this method in the third video when we talk about the financial part of your business model, and then you can save 10 to 20% of the whole thing, your income you should spend for marketing. So yeah, other questions? Yeah, let me remind you again, please send us only the requested chapters, and you won't collect any extra points if you send us more than the required chapters. Don't forget to send us your CVs and, for example, your letters of intent as attachments. While you get ready to submit your application, keep in mind the submission deadline, very important, which you can find on our homepage. And now we have another questions. The tools again. From my perspective, I would use the Porter's 5 Forces. You can Google it. And also the pestle analysis, which can be helpful. Of course, Google. And you can, what else? SWOT analysis, yeah, of course, SWOT analysis, very important. Yeah, I would say these 3 are the best ones, and you can also check our resources online and go to the calendar. We have different other workshops and seminars on the topics market research, and yeah, I would say this is so what comes up now. Yeah. Okay, more questions? No? Okay, then finally let me give you advice from my perspective. It doesn't matter if you submit or try to develop a business model canvas or a business plan during the competition. Use the potential of the business model canvas first to develop different business model options and think about different target groups, think about different products and services, and then decide on the one that fits best and use it as a base to write an outstanding business plan. And it's always a good idea to use the feedback you receive from the jurors and ask for help. Yeah, go out and to talk to as many people as possible about your product, your service, to get feedback and develop things. So, and very important, and take advantage of more than 100 seminars and workshops to get to the next level of your business plan and the competition. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that's it. I hope you enjoyed the overview of the requirements of the second stage, and especially over the market research chapter and marketing. We have one more webinar coming up about the third stage with a focus on the financial part or chapter. And I wish you good luck. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact our BPW team. And thank you for watching, and take care, and bye-bye.